Okay, recording started. We can start the question.
Sure, Shravani, you can
Alright.
start.
Savani, Savani.
Shravani, you can start. Shravani, can you hear me?
Ah,
Uh,
Thank
hmm.
you. I, Dr. Shravani Chatterjee. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the organizing team, I, Dr. Shravani Chatterjee, welcome you all to the sixth day of the one-week online workshop on research methodology organized by IQAC of Vijay Krishna Girls College in collaboration with IQAC of University of Calcutta. Today, I have the privilege to introduce our honorable speaker, Dr. Shushmita Chatterjee, to all of you. Dr. Chatterjee currently is an assistant professor in the Department of Economics at Maharaja Monindra Chandra College. She has received her PhD from University of Calcutta in 2013. Her areas of interest are applied economics, industrial organization, and development economics. She is also associated as a PhD supervisor under University of Calcutta. Dr. Chatterjee has published many papers in different national and international journals and chapters in different books. Some of them are Determinants of Sustainability of Micro Enterprises and Empirical Analysis with Professor S. Dattagupta and Professor P. Upadhyay, Empowering Women and Stimulating Development at Bottom of Pyramid through Micro-Entrepreneurship with Professor S. Dattagupta and Professor P. Upadhyay. Telecommunication Industry in the Era of Globalization in the book titled Development and Sustainability India in a Global Perspective with Professor Debabrata Datta and Professor Soumen Sikdar, published by Springer. She is the co-author of a book, Dynamics Linkages and Volatility Spillover, published by Emerald Group Publishing Limited, United Kingdom, with Professor B. Bagchi and Dr. Dandabat in 2016. She has also assisted in different projects through her knowledge and expertise. She was the recipient of National Scholarship at higher secondary level in 1994. Her today's presentation is on hands-on training on Strata. Once again, I welcome you, madam, and over to you, madam. And the participants are requested, please mute their audio and video during the session, and they can put their questions into the chat box. Madam?
Dr. Chan, yes, thank you for introducing me. Thank you, IQC Cell and Research and Development Cell of Vijay Krishna Girls College for inviting me for this academic endeavor. Today I am going to deliver a presentation on theoretical aspects of factor analysis and also the empirical application of factor analysis through SPSS. So I am going directly to the presentation. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, madam.
Yes, thank you. So today we will discuss a theoretical discussion of factor analysis with some empirical treatments. I am Shushmita Chatterjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Maharaja Monindra Chandra College. So let us start with a formal definition of factor analysis. Factor analysis is the name given to a group of statistical techniques that can be used to analyze interrelationships among a large number of variables and to explain these variables in terms of their common underlying dimensions. And those dimensions are nothing but, as we usually say, factors. The approach involves condensing the information contained in a number of original variables into a smaller set of dimensions or factors with a minimum loss of information. So we can get the essence of dimension reduction or data reduction in the process of this factor analysis. In more technical terms, factor analysis addresses the problem of analyzing the structure of the interrelationships, generally known as correlations, among a large number of variables. Example, taste scores, taste items, questionnaire responses. By defining a set of common underlying dimensions known as factors. Now, we will start with the concept of exploratory factor analysis, a latent variable model. Latent variable model. It started or developed by Spearman 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, in 1904, for the case of one common factor in the area of human abilities, and then later generalized by Thurston, 1947, and others to the case of multiple factors. Factor analysis is probably the most frequently used and sometimes the most controversial psychometric procedure. So, psychometric procedure, particularly used by psychologists, sociologists, but now for behavioral economics, behavioral finance, in marketing, everywhere, we need this multivariate tool to establish our hypothesis. Now, there is a distinction between component and factor model. While you are going to develop a model of a latent structure, then you must distinguish between component model and factor model. In case of component model, here I have given some notations, say x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and x6. These 6 are variables, variates in a questionnaire, questions, whatever you can think of. These are indicators. Now, in a component model, all indicators, all variables or all variates are moving toward a particular component. Say that is y1. So it is movement from this variable to the component. Variable to the component. But for factor model, what we have the movement of the latent variable, which is unobserved, to the observed variates, observed variables, observed responses. So here the movement is from the factor. So the factor is exogenous and the variable or the variate is endogenous in nature. So this is difference between component model and factor model. This variate can be expressed by this latent factor and with one error. So we can form a particular regression equation from this factor model. So while structuring the latent variable model, we must take care of this structure. Later on, I will discuss this with interpretation in a regression form as well. Now, components are linear sums of variables. Linear sums of variables and do not necessarily say anything about the correlations between the variables. Components are linear sums of variables and do not necessarily say anything about the correlations between the variables. Factors are latent variables, latent, unobserved, thought to explain the correlations or covariances between observed variables. Factors are latent variables thought to explain the correlations or covariances between observed variables. The fundamental factor equation expresses the correlations between variables in terms of the factor loadings. These factor loadings are nothing but just like correlations, coefficients, correlation coefficients like that. In a regression equation, regression coefficient like that. The variance of each variable is made up of two unobservable parts. That which is common to the variables, the factor, and that which is unique to each variable. The variance of each variable is made up of two unobservable parts. That which is common to the variables, the factor, and that which is unique to each variable. Now we can go back to this diagram. So two parts, two unobserved part. One is the factor which is common to the variable, and one unique variance, one unique unobserved part for each variable. The variance of each variable is made up of two unobservable parts, that which is common to the variables and that which is unique to each variable. These unique components are shown as curved arrows back to the variable. Diagram before. Observed variables are represented by boxes and unobserved variables by ellipses. You can see this. Now, principal component analysis and factor analysis. Component analysis, also known as principal components analysis, considers the total variance and derives factors that contain small proportions of unique variance, and in some instances, error variance. Specifically, with component analysis, unities are inserted in the diagonal box of the correlation matrix so that the full variance is brought into the factor matrix. Conversely, the common factor analysis, communalities are inserted in the diagonal. Communalities are estimates of the shared or common variance among the variables. Common variance among the variables. Factors resulting from the common factor analysis are based only on the common variance. Factors resulting from common factor analysis are based only on common variance. The common factor and component analysis models are both widely used in research. The selection of one model over the other is based on two criteria. The first one is the objectives of the factor analysis and the amount of prior knowledge about the variance in the variables. The objectives of the factor analysis and the amount of prior knowledge about the variance in the variables. The component factor model is appropriate when the primary concern is about prediction or the minimum number of factors needed to account for the maximum portion of the variance represented in the original set of variables. And when prior knowledge suggests that specific and error variance represent a relatively small proportion of total variance. So when we will perform component factor model, when the primary concern is about prediction or the minimum number of factors needed to account for the maximum portion of the variance represented in the original set of variables. And when prior knowledge suggests that specific and error variance represent a relatively small proportion of total variance. In contrast, when the primary objective is to identify the latent dimensions or constructs represented in the original variables, and the researcher has little knowledge about the amount of specific and error variance, and therefore wishes to eliminate this variance, the common factor model is most appropriate. So this is the justification or the rationale behind use of factor model. If you want to get latent dimensions or constructs and you don't know or you have little knowledge about the specific and error variance. Factor analysis is an interdependence technique in which all variables are simultaneously considered, each related to all others. To reduce a large number of variables to a smaller number of factors for modeling purposes where the large number of variables precludes modeling all the measures individually. As such, factor analysis is integrated in structural equation modeling, helping create the latent variables models by structural equation modeling. So this is the first step for going to the multivariate structural equation modeling.
ऐका ना तोच कोर्स एका दिवसाचा येऊ शकतो
3 दिवसाचा घ्या
तोच 5 मिनिटाचा बस झाला
हॅलो
अरे
हॅलो हॅलो रवींद्र सर हॅलो
सॉरी मॅम सॉरी सर
इट्स ऑल राइट.
Okay. So nowadays we have to use structural equation modeling to publish our paper. Maybe factor analysis is not enough for internationally recognized journals, but we must know the basic premise of factor analysis to develop the structural equation models. Now, to select a subset of variables from a larger set based on which original variables have the highest correlations with the principal component factors. Factor analysis is used to create a set of factors to be treated as uncorrelated variables as one approach to handling multicollinearity in such procedures as multiple regression. So, to get rid of multicollinearity, this factor analysis emerges as a remedy. If you have, say, 50 items in your particular research, 50 questions, then there will be problem of multicollinearity. And to get rid of this multicollinearity, data reduction or dimension reduction is very much needed, and factor analysis is the help for this particular situation. So these are all rational for using factor analysis in your research purpose. Now, factor analysis is used to validate a scale or index by demonstrating that its constituent items load on the same factor, and to drop proposed scale items which cross-load on more than one factor. So if you want to validate your scale or your questionnaire, then also you can use this factor analysis. To establish that multiple tests measures the same factor, thereby giving justification for administering fewer tests. In some psychometric tests, you can use this kind of factor analysis. Now, interpreting the factors. 3 steps are involved in the interpretation of the factors and the selection of the final factor solution. The initial unrotated factor matrix is computed to assist in obtaining a preliminary indication of the number of factors to extract. The factor matrix contains factor loadings for each variable. The factor matrix contains factor loadings. Factor loadings is nothing but the correlation. Simply saying it is nothing but a correlation between the latent variable, that is the factor, and with the observed variable, the observed indicator, the observed score. Factor loadings, then nothing but the correlation. The factor matrix contains factor loadings for each variable on each factor. In computing the unrotated factor matrix, the researcher is simply interested in the best linear combination of variables. Best in the sense that the particular combination of original variables accounts for more of the variance in the data as a whole than any other linear combination of variables. Therefore, the first factor may be viewed as the single best summary of linear relationships exhibited in the data. The second factor is defined as the second best linear combination of the variables subject to the constraint that it is orthogonal to the first factor. Orthogonal. What is orthogonal? That is uncorrelated. Uncorrelated to the first factor. To be orthogonal to the first factor, the second factor must be derived from the variance remaining after the first factor has been extracted. Thus, the second factor may be defined as the linear combination of the variables that accounts for the most residual variance after the effect of the first factor has been removed from the data. Subsequent factors are defined similarly until all the variance in the data is exhausted. The second step employs a rotational method to achieve simpler and theoretically more meaningful factor solutions. In most cases, rotation of the factors improves the interpretation by reducing some of the ambiguities that often accompany initial unrotated factor solutions. In this way, the objective of data reduction is achieved. Factor loading is the means of interpreting the role each variable plays in defining each factor. Factor loadings are the correlation of each variable and the factor. Loadings indicate the degree of correspondence between the variable and the factor, with higher loadings making the variable representative of the factor. The unrotated factor solution may not provide a full meaningful pattern of variable loadings. Generally, rotation will be desirable because it simplifies the factor structure. It is usually difficult to determine whether unrotated factors will be meaningful. The researcher assesses the need to specify the factor model owing to the deletion of a variable or variables from the analysis, the desire to employ a different rotational method for interpretation, the need to extract a different number of factors, or the desire to change from one extraction method to another. Now, orthogonal rotation methods. In practice, the objective of all methods of rotation is to simplify the rows and columns of the factor matrix to facilitate interpretation in a factor matrix. Columns represent factors with each row corresponding to a variable's loading across the factors. By simplifying the rows, we mean making as many values in each row as close to 0 as possible. That is, maximizing a variable's loading on a single factor. By simplifying the columns, we mean making as many values in each column as close to 0 as possible, making the number of high loadings as few as possible. Three major orthogonal approaches have been developed: Quatrimax, Varimax, and Equimax. Basically, we use this Varimax method. This method maximizes the sum of variances of required loadings of the factor matrix, centers on simplifying the columns of factor matrix. Now, oblique rotations are similar to orthogonal rotation, except that oblique rotations allow correlated factors. Correlated factors. But often we do the orthogonal rotation. Now, we will do just simple mathematics to know how to define factors. Say we are taking three variables, y2, y1, y2, and y3, represent scores in a particular test for students. Scores in mathematics, Bengali, and physics, say. Now, as in third slide, I have shown you the structure, the factor structure that can be represented by a particular regression type of equation. So when you are doing the analysis, the data analysis with any software you use, you must take into account the simple mathematical structure behind that. Otherwise, we cannot write the interpretation of our results, because the software will give you results, but we have to interpret our result for publication purposes. Now, we must know this for any Latin structure construction. that the latent variables, the factors, are independent indicators, not the observed variable. So Y1, Y2, Y3, these test scores are observed, but these observed scores are dependent in the latent structure system. And the latent variables are independent indicators. So this particular variate, this particular variable, it may be a question in your questionnaire, an item in your psychometric test. This is represented by this regression equation, and the regression equation, in this regression equation, factors are the independent or exogenous indicators with a error term, with a particular error term. The error terms E1, E2, and E3 serve to indicate that hypothesized relationships are not exact. In the spatial vocabulary of factor analysis, the parameters, these beta ij, are referred to as loadings. These are nothing but the factor loadings. For example, B12 is called the loading of the variable Y1 on factor 2. On factor 2. So when you have to write the methodology, you must know what exactly this loading is. Now loading on the variable, say yi. Y1 is F1 with 1j positive value, 0 value here, Y2 here 0. For F1 only we have positive loading for this Y1. And for Y2 and Y3 0, and Y2 and Y3 are having positive loadings on this F2, second factor. By 0 we mean approximately equal to 0, and by a positive number substantially different from 0. Now what are the assumptions? The error terms EI are independent of one another. So expectation I, EI 0, variance EI sigma I square. Unobservable factors Fj are independent of one another and of the error terms. So expectation Fj equals to 0 and variance Fj equals to 1. As for the factor means and variances, the assumption is that the factors are standardized. It is an assumption made for mathematical convenience. So we can think of them as measured in standardized form. Each observable variable is a linear function of independent factors and error terms. This is important. Each observable variable is a linear function of independent factors and error terms and can be written as yi. We have written this before as well. Now, if you take the variance, you will get this. And these two, beta I1 square plus beta I2 square, known as communality. And the rest part is specific variance. Communality, which is with the common variance, common to factors, common with the factors. And specific variance, this is specific with the variable. Specific with the variable. The first, the communality of the variable is the part that is explained by common factors. The second, the specific variance, is the part of the variance of yi that is not accounted by common factors. If the two factors were perfect predictors of grades, then this error term will vanish and you will get also 0 variance. Estimation in factor analysis is thus, in a sense, a two-stage procedure. First, the parameters in the model are estimated. Then these are used to provide estimates of individual factors. First, the parameters in the model are estimated, then these are. Is there any question?
Hello. Participants are requested to please mute their audio and video. Hello. Hello. Swapun Chaudhary, please mute your. Hello, Swapun Kumar Chaudhary sir, please mute your audio. Hello, Swapun Kumar Chaudhary sir, please mute your audio. Chaudhary, please mute your audio.
তুমি আমি কোথায় পাঠিয়ে যাই না কিন্তু বলবো না তুমি পাঠাও নি যাকে যে তোমাকে বলেছি এখন সোমবার
Madam, host can mute him. Host can mute him.
Hello. Okay. Amit da,
নিচে একটা জায়গা নিচে যেখানে
অমিত দা? hello. Amit da, please mute Dr. Swapun Kumar Chaudhary.
না তুমি যেখানে পাঠাচ্ছো তখন দেখে নিবে এখানে পাঠানোর মধ্যে লেখা থাকবে হ্যাঁ
Amit da,
তুমি যে পাঠিয়েছো যাকে যে পাঠিয়েছো তুমি পেয়ে যাবে
hello Sarojit.
কথা আমি কি
Sarojit,
আমি অন্য কারো মাধ্যমে তো ওখানে স্ক্রিনশট নিয়ে বা ওখানে হবে ওর এটা এখানে পাঠিয়ে
okay, please wait for 2 minutes.
ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট যায়নি
Madam, please wait for 2 minutes. I'm very sorry. Please wait.
Okay.
পাঠাও না পাঠিয়ে দিয়ে থাকো এটাই বুঝি কারণ পুষ্কার আমাকে বললো ফোন করেছিল আমাকে সব কিছু ডকুমেন্ট দিয়ে দেবে একটা আপনারটা
Swapun Kumar Chaudhary sir, please mute your audio.
কথা হয়ে থাকলে ভালো কথা হচ্ছে মানে আমি তোমাকে আর বলতে আমি আর বলছি টাকা লাগবে যাই লাগবে টাকা দিয়ে নি থাকতো এত টাকা কম পাচ্ছি মাথা ঘুরে যাচ্ছে মোটামুটি কত কম পাচ্ছেন 20,000 টাকা কম পাচ্ছি এখানে যত টাকা
Okay.
I'm really sorry, madam. Now you can proceed, madam.
So, thank you. So, this is the basic premise for the factor analysis. First, the parameters in the model are estimated, then these are used to provide estimates of individual factor scores. Y and E denote column vectors with respective elements, yi and ei, and let F be the column vector with elements FR are running from 1 to K. So this is the latent structure. Now, communality of the variate, part of the variance of the corresponding variate, only that part which is due to K common factors. K common factors. If K1, then this capital lambda will be beta IR, reduces to a column vector of only the parameters. Common variance is the amount of variance that is shared among a set of items that are highly correlated, will share a lot of variance. Communality, also called H2, is a definition of common variance that ranges from 0 to 1 Values closer to 1 suggest that extracted factors explain more of the variance of an individual item. Now we will go to the empirical rigor with PCA, and that is principal component analysis and factor analysis. Here I am delivering one of my research works, which is for service excellence. Based on questionnaire survey, and for particular for this presentation, I have taken 1,428 observations, and here I have taken 14 items question in Likert scale 1 to 5. Now we will do the principal component analysis. I am going directly to SPSS software where I have the data, and we will do that with data, and then I will go to the interpretation part of the results. I think the SPSS window is visible to you.
Yes,
Madam, it is visible.
Okay. So I have the data, and I'm going to analyze dimension reduction, thereafter factor. And from this, if you can see, I think you can see, I have 14 items or 14 questions regarding service excellence, online service excellence. I want to know about the determinants of service excellence. So for that particular research issue, I have 14 items. The items are: deliver orders as promised, make no mistakes in my order, make accurate promises about my product deliveries, taking care of problem promptly, being always available to help customers, being flexible to accommodate customer preferences, inspiring confidence in customers during interactions, making customers feel safe in the transactions, protecting customers' personal information, having personalized interfaces, having human assistance available, having online help services when needed, having visually appealing interfaces, having interfaces which are easy to use. So these are the dimensions or items or variables or questions in my research issue. Now I want dimension reduction. So I have performed this factor analysis. So here, first I will do principal component analysis. Descriptives. In descriptives, I want to know the Kaiser-Meyer-Olin and Bartlett's test of sphericity. Clicking on continue. Extraction. I will stick to this principal components and say I want 3 factors or 3 components out of this. Continue. Rotation. I prefer this Varimax rotation, the orthogonal rotation. Continue and click OK. So I got the result. KMO and Bartlett test, communalities, total variance, component matrix, rotated component matrix. So these are the results of my principal component analysis. Now I will go back to the presentation where I will explain all the tables, interpretation of the tables. So this is principal component analysis. I have shown you just now. Now the results. Kaiser-Meyer-Olin measure of sampling adequacy. Then Bartlett's test of sphericity. Now you can see the value 0.930. For what reason we will do this? For what reason we will do this? This measure varies between 0 and 1, and values closer to 1 are better. A value of 0.6 is a suggested minimum, but it can be around 0.5 also. But for what reason? To check the sample size is adequate, whether it is adequate or not. If it is less than 0.5, then we can say you have to increase the sample size. There are several questions regarding the sample size for doing factor analysis and thereafter structural equation modeling. And the basic norm, the minimum norm is 10 observations. 10 observations per item, per variable, per variate. But as I have done, say at least 15 such research papers with factor analysis and thereafter structural equation modeling, I would say you need at least 50 observations if your factor structure is very large. And if your factor structure is very small, then at least 20 to 30 observations. So you have to increase your sample size. You have to increase your sample size. Otherwise, you will not get a very good result. Maybe up to factor analysis, it is permissible. But if you want to go beyond factor analysis, you have to enter into the arena of structural equation modeling. Then you have to increase your sample size. Then Bartlett's test of sphericity. This test, the null hypothesis that the correlation matrix is an identity matrix. An identity matrix is matrix in which all the diagonal elements are 1 and all off diagonal elements are 0. You want to reject this null hypothesis. You have to reject the null hypothesis, and you can see you are rejecting the null hypothesis in this case. And the sampling adequacy test is also a very good one. Now, communalities. You can see the table for communalities. commonalities is the common variance. This is the proportion of each variable's variance that can be explained by the principal components. It is also noted as H square, as we have seen in earlier slide, and can be defined as the sum of squared factor loadings. Sum of squared factor loadings. By definition, the initial value of the communality in a principal components analysis is 1. And here you can see 1. Now the extraction part is important. Extraction part. How to explain this? The values in this column indicate the proportion of each variable's variance. Proportion of each variable's variance that can be explained by the principal components. Variables with high values are well represented in the common factor space, while variables with low values are not well represented. Not well represented. So let us survey on this. Okay, we have good communalities, the extraction values are good. This is below than 0.5, only 1. So we can get good interrelationships between the variates, the variables, the questions. And we can think of good latent structure behind this. Now, eigenvalues. For describing your results in factor analysis, you must know about the eigenvalues. Eigenvalues represent the total amount of variance that can be explained by a given principal component. Total amount of variance. Total amount of variance that can be explained by a given principal component. They can be positive, negative in theory, but in practice they explain variance which is always positive. If eigenvalues are greater than 0, then it's a good sign. Since variance cannot be negative, negative eigenvalues imply the model is not specified. Then what is the remedy? Sometimes in structural equation modeling, we come across with negative values. Then you have to stipulate the value with a particular variance of other latent variable, or you have to stipulate the variance with value 1. This is the remedy. Eigenvalues close to 0 imply there is item multicollinearity. Since all the variance can be taken up by the first component. All the variance can be taken up by the first component. Eigenvalues are also the sum of squared component loadings across all items. For each component, which represent the amount of variance in each item that can be explained by the principal component. So eigenvalues are also the sum of squared component loadings across all items for each component, which represent the amount of variance in each item that can be explained by the principal component. Can be explained by the principal component. Now we will go to the table total variance explained. Now these are the components. As I have 14 questions, 14 items, 14 variables, whatever you say. So you have total, first column, and if you sum up all these values, it will be 14. So from 6.238 to 2.253, if you sum up all these values, just go to Excel and sum up all these values, you will get 14. And the percentage of variance is nothing but 6.238 divided by 14 into 100. Like this. So the first component explaining 44% of variance. Second, 8%. Third, again, 8.7 like that. Now we will describe this table as well, one by one. The first column is component. As many components extracted during a principal components analysis as there are variables that are put into it. In our example, we use 14 variables, so we have 14 components. Now, what is initial eigenvalues? Eigenvalues are the variances of the principal components. Variances of the principal components. The total variance is equal to the number of variables used in the analysis. In this case, 14. So the total variance is 14. What is total? This column contains the eigenvalues. Eigenvalues. The first component will always account for the most variance and hence have the highest eigenvalue. And the next component will account for as much of the leftover variance as it can, and so on. Hence, each successive component will account for less and less variance. You can see that well. Successive values are less and less. The first component is accounting for the highest value. Next, the percentage of variance. This column contains the percent of variance accounted for by with each principal component. By each principal component, as I have shown, if the total variance is 14, then this 6.238 is nothing but 44% of variance. So the first component is accounting 44% of variance. Now, what is cumulative variance? This column contains the cumulative percentage of variance accounted for by the current and all preceding principal components. Here we are getting this value, the cumulative percentage, 62.13%. Extraction sums of squared loadings. Extraction sums of square loadings. The third row, it is the third row. It is the third row. Now, the three columns of this half of the table exactly reproduce the values given on the same row on the left side of the table. Extraction sums of squared loadings. Extraction sums of square loadings. You can see same values. Now, extraction sums of squared loadings, the same values. So the total explained variance is 62.133 by 3 factors, by 3 components, as we have specified 3 components according to my research. Now, rotated component matrix. This is the rotated component matrix, where I have highlighted the factor loadings. These are nothing but the factor loadings. Just think of correlations. 1, 2, 3 components. The first correlation is with the first item, deliver orders as promised. With first component, the correlation is 0.844. That is, the first component is explaining this particular item, deliver orders as promised, by this 0.844. That is, you can imagine of say 84%. Then by similar way, we have the loadings for other variates or questions with first component. Then for the second component, and then for the third component. Now, there may be a question like that, say 0.637 is more than 0.516, 0.523 is more than 0.477, then why I am taking into account factor 2 for these questions? Now, according to my research, these questions are coming from a particular validated questionnaire. And you can see the difference is not that much. If it is say 0.637 and this is 0.316, then I cannot justify to say that this component 2 is explaining this variable or this question much more than component 1. But this difference is not that much so that I can justify that, look, this question or this variable or this variate is having more loading in factor 1. Then also, as I am trying with some pre-validated questionnaire, then, and according to the questionnaire, this question will merge with all other questions. Those are also having more loadings on this component 2. So I will take this question in component 2 or this variable in component 2. That is my justification, as the difference is not that much. But if the difference is good enough, the amount is good enough, then the researcher cannot justify like this. Now the component matrix. The component matrix contains component loadings ranging from +1 to -1, and then we will get the rotated matrix, which is more convenient and more easy to describe. So go for this rotated matrix while you are publishing your research paper rather than component matrix. Now, we will move to factor analysis with the same data. So I will go to the window again and going to SPSS screen. Analyze, dimension reduction, factor, then descriptives, same as before, extraction. I will go for this principal axis factoring, restricted to 3 factors, then rotation, varimax, and then okay. So I will get the result. And again, I will explain the result, the interpretation of the result. So factor analysis. Now, for factor analysis, the KMO, that test will be the same. Interpretation is also the same. Now I am moving to the communalities table, the table representing communalities. Now you can see the difference. In case of principal component analysis, the initial values all equal to 1 as the diagonal elements are equal to 1. Now, what is communality? This is the proportion of each variable's variance that can be explained by the factors, the underlying latent. It is also noted as A square and can be defined as a sum of squared factor loadings for the variables. Now, with principal factor axis factoring, the initial values on the diagonal of the correlation matrix are determined by the squared multiple correlation of the variable with the other variables. Now, for example, if you suggest items 2, regressed items 2 through 14 on item 1, the squared multiple correlation coefficient will be 0.566. Item 1 regressed on 2 to 14 and the coefficient will be 0.566. Items 2 through 14 on item 1, the squared multiple correlation coefficient would be 0.566. Now, what is extraction? The values in this column indicate the proportion of each variable's variance that can be explained by the retained factors. Variables with high values are well represented in the common factor space, while variables with low values are not well represented. So we have this extraction column where we have 2 low values, 2, 3 low values like that, less than 0.5. But all other, then the researcher has to decide whether to keep these items or get rid of these items. That is according to or up to the researcher for selection of items. And if the item, in my case, if the items are from pre-validated scale like that, and you cannot drop the item, otherwise you have to suffer from other results, then you have to keep these items as well. Now again, the total variance. And here the total variance explained is 50.458. 50.458. So here you can see 14 factors. The initial number of factors is the same as the number of variables used in the factor analysis. However, not all 14 factors will be retained. In this example, only first 3 factors will be retained. Initial eigenvalues. Eigenvalues are the variances of the factors. Now, what is total? This column contains the eigenvalues. The first factor will always account for the most variance and hence have the highest eigenvalue. The highest eigenvalue. And the next factor will account for as much of the leftover variance as it can, and so on. And hence each successive factor will account for less and less variance. Now, percentage of variance, this column contains the percent of total variance accounted for by each factor. So this is as same as in case of principal component analysis. Now, cumulative is also the same. So here the third row shows the cumulative percentage 50.458. So by three factors, 50% of the variance can be explained. Now here again, the issue will be with the researcher only. Is the researcher happy with this explanation of variance? 50% variance explained is more or less good enough. But higher the variance explained will be good for interpreting your results. But we can do with this 50% variance explained. That is, we can publish. Now, extraction sums of squared loadings. The number of rows in this panel of the table correspond to the number of factors retained. The values in this panel of the table will always be lower than the values in the left panel of the table because they are based on common variance, which is always smaller than total variance. Smaller than total variance. Rotation sums of squared loadings. The values in this panel of the table represent the distribution of the variance after the Varimax rotation. Rotation sums of squared loadings. Distribution of the variance after the Varimax rotation. After the Varimax rotation. Varimax rotation tries to maximize the variance of each of the factors. So the total amount of variance accounted for is redistributed over the here three extracted factors. Now, again the factor matrix where we have three factors. And the loadings. Of those factors. And the extraction method is principal axis factoring. But we will explain more this rotated factor matrix that is more easy to understand. After rotation, you can think of reshuffling the cards so the cards are beautifully managed so that you can explain the results in a easy manner. So you can see for the first factor, these are the variables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 items or 5 questions are there in factor 1, having high loadings, having high correlations with the factor. So item 1, high correlation with factor 1. Item 2 is also having high correlation with factor 1. So up to item 5 or question number 5, we have high correlations with the factor 1. Then we can move to factor 2, and we can see question number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and also 12. These are the items or questions which are having high loading, which are having high loadings on factor 2. On factor 2. Now, the rest 2 items or rest 2 questions are having high loading on factor 3. High loading on factor 3. So, we can distinguish different factors with factor loadings so that we can put on our questions or our items on these factors. Now, rotated factor matrix. This table contains the rotated factor loadings, which represent both how the variables are weighted for each factor, but also the correlation between the variables and the factor. Because these are correlations, possible values range from -1 to +1. For orthogonal rotations such as varimax, the factor pattern and factor structure matrices are the same. Now, factor, the columns under this heading are the rotated factors that have been extracted. As you can see by the footnote provided by SPSS, extraction method, principal axis factoring, and rotation method, varimax. Rotation method, varimax. Three factors were extracted. These are the factors that analysts are most interested in and try to name them. Now the researcher can name the factors according to the research issue or from the extant literature. So this is the exploratory factor analysis, where you are exploring the factors, and you have very little prior knowledge about the specific variance. Now, orthogonal rotation assumes that the factors are not correlated. Here we do not want any kind of correlation between factors. So we are taking into account orthogonal rotation, and the most common type of orthogonal rotation is varimax rotation. The total variance explained by all factors stays the same. The total variance explained by each factor will be different. Total variance explained by all factors stays the same. The total variance explained by each factor will be different. Now, communalities table represents the total common variance explained by both factors for each item. Summing down the items in communalities table also gives you the total variance explained by 3 factors here. Now, according to my research issue, the issue of service excellence, determining the factors for service excellence, items 1 to 5 can be called as the factor fulfillment and system availability. Fulfillment and system availability, the name given to the name given to the component, the name given to the component, item 6 to 12, privacy and human touch, and items 13 and 14 as efficiency, So as I have shown you the variables or the questions for this research issue of service excellence. Now, according to factors, I have named them items 1 to 5 as fulfillment and system availability, and then the second factor as privacy and human touch, and 13 and 14 as efficiency. So again, we can move to the questions. Deliver orders as promised. Make no mistake in my order. Make accurate promises about my product deliveries. These are all for fulfillment and availability. And then these factors being flexible to accommodate customer preference, inspiring confidence in customer during interactions. These are all going to this particular factor, privacy and human touch, and then having visually appealing interface, having interfaces which are easy to use. These are all going toward, say, the efficiency aspect or efficiency factor. So this is a particular empirical rigor with principal component analysis and also with factor analysis. So I am thankful to the principal, IQAC cell, research and development cell, and to all my co-researchers for listening to me. And now I solicit questions from this particular lecture delivery.
Thank you so much, madam, for your wonderful explanation. I'd like to ask the participants that if they want to ask any questions to you, they can ask directly to our madam, our respected honorable speaker, Dr. Shushmita Chatterjee. Any question? Participants can also put their questions into the chat box also.
Yeah, can you go ahead with the one small question?
Yes, please.
Madam?
Yes.
Madam, I have seen few papers where they are using the oblique rotation also. So most of the time in all the workshop, I have observed that faculty resource person, they teach only orthogonal. So where to use this oblique rotation?
If you want the factors to be correlated with each other, if you want to show that this, in my example, if the availability and the human touch, these two are related to each other, then you can go for this oblique rotation.
So that
But
can
our partner, yes.
That can be checked using correlation also, and that's why people, they are not going for oblique rotation.
Yes, again, you have to set up your premise for research. You have to justify or the rationale behind the correlation between the factors. It may be the case, the factors are correlated to each other. It may be the case. Say when you are moving a step forward with the structural equation modeling, it may happen that two factors are correlated with each other. Then you can use this oblique rotation. But in factor analysis, in case of structural equation modeling, where you have this kind of covariant structure, then the system is so structured or so designed that the rotation system, they can perform for you. So if you have only the factor analysis, you have to go up to factor analysis, and you can justify that your factors are correlated with each other, then you can go for this oblique rotation. But usually we want separate factors as separate determinants of a particular research issue.
So for finding the correlation, there must be some theoretical strong bonding from the literature also.
Theoretical, yes, a priori theoretical premise for taking into account the correlation. There must be some extant literature. There must be some extant literature showing that these factors are correlated with each other. But when you are doing the exploratory factor analysis, then you are exploring some factors. And if you are doing confirmatory factor analysis, then there may be some theoretical base for relating two factors. But for exploratory factor analysis, where you are exploring, look, these are the factors or not, then I think varimax rotation or orthogonal rotation will be the best suitable way.
So I think I have used all the time confirmatory, that because already use scale I have used, and that's why I have gone for
Yes.
Done. Okay, thank you so much for good answer. Thank you, madam. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions from the part of participants? Sarojit?
হ্যাঁ দিদি বলো
Sarojit? In chat box, there's no question. So,
If there is no questions, then we can end up the
you can
session for today,
conclude.
I think.
Yeah.
conclude? Okay. So, I like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Shushmita Chatterjee for such wonderful explanation, and tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you. Shall I leave?
Yes, madam, you can.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Thank you.
We'll
Sir,
stop
record-
recording once all the.
Okay.
I think we should leave.
Yeah.
Jadi